Welcome everybody to Hawk Insider. I am your host, Benny Garcia. Today I'm here with Nick Del Bianco and Quinn de Palo. And we will be talking about their short film. And you are the writer and the director, right?
Well, I mean, I think we've been co-directing it, I'd say, to be fair.
Yeah, we've been bouncing off each other.
And you are the cinematographer for it, right?
Yeah, so I think when each scenario we get into, Nick has usually like an idea of something, and I'm like, oh, I know this will work with this pretty well. So
now it's a very interesting name. Can you say it for me?
Alderheid.
Alderheid,
yeah.
Why the name?
Okay, so we basically came up with this for like a German cinema class, right? So we wanted some like at least German-based names, even though it wasn't going to be like a completely like German movie. Mm-hmm. And we knew that the influences were going to like inevitably be a little bit Hollywood, a little bit American. So, you know, things change with time. But Alderheid is meant to kind of sound like alter hide, like another skin, like your alternate skin. Right. And the idea of it was that, like, you know, lurking within this industry that was taking place, especially because it was based off Metropolis and other like 20s German movies that we saw in that class and 30s German movies that kind of show like the decline. And you see how this like worker mindset, like this we have to get to work mindset, pretty quickly leads people into this kind of hive mind.
So let's get into the story, right?
Yeah.
Because I think we've gone over the concept of the story, but I want to know, what is this story about?
I don't want to give too much away. I mean, what do you want to say as a kind of like general overview?
I'd say what the story is about is kind of how it affects the characters that are inside of it, because I'd say this piece that we've produced, the way that it first started off is that we were trying to exemplify what it means to work day in, day out, and to be treated a little bit less than human. And then we said, well, let's take it a step farther than that, you know, because Nick, he's ambitious. He likes to go a little bit farther. But it's exciting, though, because we keep going with the story, and then we see, okay, well, where are these other characters that create conflict? Like, what's behind them as well?
So we talked a little bit about the story, a little bit about the concept. Can you tell me a little bit about what was the process like in making this movie, you as the writer and sort of director, and you as the cinematographer?
I'd say just to start with is that I wouldn't call it like guerrilla cinematography, but you've used like, what's the word?
I said this in another interview as well. I think the one with Board of Clowns. Right. This like the Gonzo. Gonzo filmmaking, where it's just you know, it's almost this like first person, like it's who you have on set. You go in, because this was mostly unscripted as well. I mean, we had a couple of things where the day of I would draft out literally on a piece of paper. You know, not even like written out, like typed, but just like written with hand on pen. And we would go in and just shoot like that the day of. Yeah. And there were a couple days like that.
The most exciting, I say exciting, but like when you're there, it's like, what do we have? Like, what's there to pick from? You know what I mean? But I'd say the restraint of being only using what you're given instead of saying like, you know, like let's have this big set where we're gonna have like a lot of people behind it. We say no, like we made this idea. Let's say, well, what do we have right here? Let's shoot. You know what I mean? Instead of like spending time, because I'd say that working with Nick, there's a lot of things that move fast, and being able to just pick up and think about like, okay, what would happen next? What looks good? You know?
Right. And with that, I imagine some challenges come up. Can we talk about that? Just what were the biggest challenges in filming this, and how did you conquer those challenges?
Biggest challenge? I'm trying to think, because the thing about Alderheid, and a lot of these, honestly, that's been so strange, is when you do it in this style, it takes a lot of the stress away, honestly, where it's like, well, we're just getting as much as would be nice to get. I'm trying to think. Challenges was probably location.
Daylight.
Oh, daylight.
Of course, is going to be your biggest problem above all.
Especially in winter. You're trying to get daylight, and I'm not a morning person, you know, necessarily.
Yeah.
Right? You aren't either.
There's like, we're usually like getting our rest and our bedtime. We film mostly at night.
Yeah.
Realistically.
I mean, we're night owls, so
Yeah.
when we do a film shoot, it's from, especially if it goes on 10 hours or something like that.
Right.
You know, it's early in the morning, probably when we're getting out or when we're getting there sometimes.
Right.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. What about you, Quinn? You were also a character.
Yeah, I was also a character, but I got caught up hearing you talk about that day with Gavin, and I'd say like the best part about that was that like we were there. I'd say, for like 6 hours, like shooting that.
So,
but
yeah, pretty long.
like that scene that came up where you were yelling at Gavin, and then you were like, I was like, "Are you alright, Gavin?" And you were like, "You're alright, Gavin."
Yeah, I had to check in afterwards. I was like,
Yeah.
"Are you alright?" Because I'm doing a lot of.
And, no, he was like a really cool like soldier.
Oh, he was
about
a
it, you know?
trooper.
Oh man.
And actually, that brings me an important question.
Oh, what's up? Yeah.
Yeah. How important is that? You know, that communication between cast members.
Essential.
Oh
as
my
a
God,
team.
yeah. It's like the most important thing in the world. Because if your crew doesn't feel comfortable, then the production's not going to work. The production only works when everyone on set is absolutely in this 100%. There's not something going wrong that isn't being discussed. So things need to be out in the open in that sense. And if because I didn't want Gavin to feel uncomfortable on set. I didn't want anyone to feel uncomfortable on set, especially if there's a serious role like this where there's like this kind of
There's
like
emotion
anger
behind
involved.
it,
Yeah,
and drama.
you got to check in with people. You have to check in with the people working on your set, obviously.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Do you have any
Final things.
Quinn, do you have any final thoughts, any final ideas that you want to share?
Oh man, I'd say just like the last things that I'd like to touch on that I don't think would fit in nicely anywhere is just we did think about like the sound design behind Alderheid because with the look, we have to try and find ourselves within the world of Alderheid that isn't too like great for everyone. It's kind of gloomy, with the exception. So it kind of you hear the rustic tones of the world. So there's just something that makes you feel fully immersed in it.
Yeah, and I mean, that makes total sense, I think. But that's enough for today. Thank you, Quinn. Thank you, Nick. I have been Benny, and this has been Hawk Insider. I hope to see you next time, but that's enough for me. Bye.
All right.
Oh, man.
Thank you for
Yeah.
doing this, man.
I did good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
You